Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. I just want us to review Mr. Senator Edwin Sifuna, who had an interview at Spice FM. There's a couple of things that I found problematic, which I want to address. But before I do that, before I get started, ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time watching this channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment. Tell me what you think about my review of this interview. Let's get started, okay? Here we go.
You talked about fertilizer subsidy. Let's track back and see whether that subsidy was actually applied to the needful farmers. You talked about this and the other. Are those going to be the issues? Or are we going to actually discuss the position of a leader of official opposition, entrenching Prime Cabinet Secretary, and these other conversations?
One of the most frustrating things for me as a member of Azimio is that it doesn't matter how many times we say what our agenda is. People still want to define that agenda for us. From the time we had that meeting at Jivanji, our agenda has never changed. We had 4 issues on the table and they remain the 4 issues. Eric, it is surprising that even when they are the ones who are bringing the Kenya Kwanza agenda is the one that talks about offices.
Yes.
For instance, they know for a fact that Musalia's office is unconstitutional. They want to use this process to essentially sanitize an unconstitutional office. We have not spoken about any office in our 4 agenda. We said we want an audit of the IEBC servers for the election. We want a discussion on reduction of the cost of living. We want a reconstitution of IEBC in a bipartisan manner. And finally, we said we would want to stop interference of government in political parties. That's our agenda. It has never changed. We have never added a thing. And when we were in the last bipartisan committee, every team came and drafted their agenda. It was surprising to us that the office of opposition leader, that proposal is from Kenya Kwanza. It is not us. We have not asked for any office. Our 4 issues have never changed. And I see them on podium saying, oh, these people want Mukate.
Okay, in that first clip, Mr. Senator Edwin Sifuna made it clear that Azimio's agenda are 4 main agenda, okay? Number 1, he mentioned that they want the servers audited. Number 2, he said he wants the reduction of cost of living, the cost of living to be addressed, okay? Number 3, it's reconstitution of the IEBC, okay? And number 4 is interference of government in the political parties. The government should not interfere with the political parties. That's what Mr. Sifuna says, that those are the 4 main agendas by the Azimio side. Now here's the thing, and I addressed this in my other videos, but I'll address it very quickly, okay? The mischief of this auditing of IEBC, and you'll hear from this audit, you'll hear this in the next clips that I'll play for you. If you listen carefully, if you stick with us, stick with this, because this is a very interesting video that I'm making, okay? But let's just address them one by one. The audit of the server. Number 1, it is not President Ruto's responsibility to audit the server. It's the IEBC responsibility, okay? So these, right now, as we know, the IEBC does not have a commissioner. So we should have a commissioner selected by the selection panel, okay? And this is where it goes back to the whole the constitution of the IEBC, because Azimio are saying that this should be a bipartisan process in which both parties agree on who's going to be the next commissioner. Well and good, I have no problem with that. But anyway, the auditing of the server falls squarely on the IEBC, okay? So, and before that is done, they have to have a commissioner. So, they should let the selection panel to choose the IEBC commissioner. Then they can request the IEBC, because IEBC is an independent organ, okay? Independent institution, okay? The president cannot order them to do A, B, and C, okay? The parliament or the senators cannot order them to do such whatever. They can request for the IEBC to carry out this audit, okay? Open up the servers and so that they can be audited, okay? But here's the mischief. Sorry, and I'm trying to make this very short. Here's the mischief in that. Here's the mischief. When this was requested earlier, when the petition was put forth during the Supreme Court, okay, the Venezuelans, the people who are representing Smartmatic, they say that they cannot allow their servers to be audited because it compromises their intellectual property rights, okay? There's some sensitive things from their machines that they cannot allow people to go in there and just, go about it and audit it. But in the same letter, they say that if there's any doubt about the process of the election process, they should check with the IEBC, because the IEBC hold all the Form 34As, okay? Because remember, the election, okay, the presidential election for that matter, was to be decided at the polling station. So all the Form 34As from every polling station across the nation, should be gathered around, because by law, IEBC should keep those documents for at least 3 years, okay? So if they want to ascertain the truth as to who truly won the election, they should go get those forms, tally them up, and compare with what Chebukati said, and there they'll get their answer, okay? Now, let's get to the second point. Sorry, I didn't mean auditing of the server. I meant opening of the server. Ruto does not have the power to open the servers, okay? It's the IEBC responsibility to open the servers. I mean to say open, not audit the server. Anybody can audit the server, okay, if they have the authority, but IEBC is the body, that independent body that has the authority to let people audit the server, okay? But the president, Ruto, or anybody else cannot order the IEBC to open the server. It's the IEBC itself that has to agree to open the server or to give access to anybody else for them to have these servers open and audited, okay? That's the correction I wanted to make. I was just mixed up there. Thank you. Continue. The second point, the reduction of cost of living. I say this falls squarely on the president, okay? The president, the executive, the person who won the presidency, always has policy in place in which he is to implement to help bring down the cost of living. Now, if there's an issue, if we feel like these policies are not working, the opposition can rightfully, just like Sifuna is doing, rightfully point out that, hey, your policies are not working, and they can offer an alternative, okay? And this can be done at the parliament, okay? Where they can debate and argue these cases. You don't need to have bipartisan talks outside of the parliament to talk about this issue. These issues can be handled at the parliament, where all the MPs debate and compare notes and, bring an alternative, discuss, pass it if you want to make it a law, okay? Let's go to number 3. Number 3 is the constitution of IEBC. I don't have no problem with that. If they want to sit down and see who they find is the best fit to become the next IEBC chairman, fine. Again, these are the things that can be voted on, done at the parliament. These guys can sit down, debate, choose one, and interrogate whoever whoever is being nominated, ask questions, and then agree on that. Okay. Okay. Lastly, interference by the government in the government interfering with the political parties. I don't think that's the case. Okay. I know Azimio have been feeling some type of way about this because they've been losing a large number of politicians crossing from Azimio going to the ruling party, UDA. That's usually normal, okay? In Kenya, these politicians are tumbocrats, okay? They only care about their own interests. When they feel like the party has lost an election and they're not going to find goodies, they always jump ship. I don't think Ruto is offering them anything. They say Ruto is paying them and whatever. I'm saying if they're paying them, if you have proof, take them to court, charge them, because that's really bribery, okay? Take them to court. Let the court handle that if they're being bribed, okay? If you don't have evidence, then do the same. Go pay, you know. All I'm saying is this. This is a non-issue to me because, as we know, most politicians in Kenya, okay, they will always align themselves with the ruling party because they feel like, for some reason, they'll eat, so to speak. They'll gain financially or they find favors, okay, if they align themselves with the ruling party. So you find that most people were just jumping ship on when they were on ODM nomination. They were just in ODM because they thought Raila will win. But since Raila lost, they're jumping ship. So I don't think Azimio can start saying that the government is interfering with parties, okay? All that saga that was happening in Jubilee, that's a Jubilee issue. Sabina Chege, Kioni, all those people, Kega, they can deal with that issue themselves. Uhuru Kenyatta should deal with that themselves. And I think the court decided that issue. So that's a non-issue. I don't see it as the government interfering with political parties. It is these guys who are, you know, wrangling and fighting and whatever. That's something that it can be handled. The parties can handle it by themselves, okay? Anyway, next, let's listen to Sifuna, all right? Let's go back to Sifuna.